What's up, people? It's been a few days since the Server Slam ended, and boy, am I missing this game. I truly think that this has the makings of a potential game of the year, if not the winner, a runner-up at least. And this is my honest review of the Arc Raiders Server Slam last weekend. Now, I didn't get a chance to play any of the tech tests, so my only experience is from this past weekend's Server Slam, and I'm just going to jump straight into it with some pros and cons. So, a couple of pros to get started with. Now, it might seem like I'm glazing this game, but this game truly is incredible. I'm very, very impressed. The first one, obviously, is the graphics and the sound design. I think they are top tier, and then immersion is top notch, and those things add to it so well. The world building is great. I'm pretty biased because I love most apocalyptic uninhabitable world genre, so this particularly is right up my alley. Another thing I really enjoyed was the PvP. The fights with other players feels so nicely paced. I feel like every fight you're in, no matter who sees first or who shoots first, it feels like it's not overrun with any excessive movement, but it feels strategic and well placed, and it feels like you have a chance during fights, and it feels very realistic for a world like this whenever you get into a fight with another player. But not so much in the sense of over-realism, like in Escape from Tarkov or Insurgency Sandstorm, where it's, you're getting one-tapped from, 40 yards away, or even more, rather. But the realism that works for this particular game, for this world, in the style of game that it's going for, I think it's done very, very well. The PvP is not too hard to get used to as well, very newcomer-friendly. It was very refreshing to have PvP in a game like this feel so good. Now, one of my favorite pros about this Server Slam, and really this game in general, is I love the aspect of the mini Destiny-like raids within the raids. For example, the Harvester. I think stuff like that gives this game that much of an edge and scratches an itch that I didn't know I had when it came to extraction shooters. It made the game so much more fun and added such a new aspect of just the go in, grab loot, get out, fight a couple players, fight a couple AI, but there's actually puzzles and boss battle like encounters where it just feels so much fun, and it feels challenging, and it feels like this actually means something. So it's just another added part of the game which I really loved, and I hope there's more of that to come, because it's going to be one of those things amongst many things that this game has over other games, especially over other extraction shooters. Now let's talk about the UI. As a console player, I really enjoyed navigating through my inventory and my weapons, interacting with the world around me. I come from DayZ, and on console I had such a hard time, and I still do from time to time, navigating my inventory, etc. And playing this game, though it doesn't require as much as DayZ does, it was very nice for how simple it was to get through all the things that I needed to get through in terms of inventory and space management and the guns. Now, there was no proximity pickup where you could pick up things that are just lying down on the floor, but a game like this doesn't need that. Like I said, it doesn't require as much that DayZ does, but it was so nice, and it felt so easy to catch on to and navigate as a console player. A lot of games like this really favor the PC players, which I totally understand, but as a console player, this felt really nice and really console player friendly. So if you are a console player, this is a game that's going to treat you just as nice as it treats other people. Now lastly, let's talk about the AI. There's so much talk about how hard they are and how they should be nerfed, but I completely disagree. I love how this game truly does make you feel small. I'm going to bring up DayZ again because it's all I really know, but in DayZ, as you gain more experience hour after hour you play the game, the AI zombies become predictable, you get used to their tendencies, and it can get to a point where they don't even matter, and it's all about PvP. A lot of people just say it's like Call of Duty with extra steps, essentially. In this game, Arc Raiders does not feel like that at all. The AI are unpredictable, hard to beat, and I think that's a very positive thing rather than a negative thing, because it keeps the game fun. And I think even better, another thing I like about Arc Raiders is that this thing does so well is it encourages players to team up outside of their squad. Having enemies where it's very difficult to defeat on your own or with your own squad, and needing to rely on other players or teams outside of your squad adds so much to the game that I think if you nerf the AI, it could possibly eliminate that aspect of the game, and it's so unique, and I love that. So I think the whole rave about nerfing the AI in this game is uncalled for, and I think it's dangerous if we walk into that territory, because where it's at, I think it's perfect. Alright, now let's talk about the cons. The first con that I would mention, and there's not many, is how little of content that was released during the server slam. Now I totally understand and get why. It absolutely makes me want October 30th to come sooner, but I feel like just a little bit more content, like workbench upgrades, could have really helped. I would have loved to have been able to craft a zipline or craft a weapon that could be a little bit better. Of course, the anvil for me personally stood out amongst all the weapons, but being able to craft an arpeggio or a renegade would have been really awesome. Now, it was only a 3-day test, and we didn't really have a lot of time to get the materials needed to craft certain things, but just adding a little bit more, or even on the last day, making, for example, say Buried City available to play for a couple hours. That would have been a lot of fun. I think it would have really kind of spiced up the server slam a little bit more than just damn Battlegrounds. But overall, I understand why they did what they did with just having limited content. Another con would be some more small glitches and restarts that happen, which is to be expected. This was a test. This was a server slam to test their servers, and there was instances where you would, your game would crash and you would restart and you could lose. Luckily, the only time that I had a crash game was I didn't really have a lot during the raid, but even then I was able to jump right back into the match and continue the raid like nothing ever happened. And I think it was a server-wide crash, so I didn't feel like anyone else was really affected in the same way I was. But I think the team will recognize that and be able to fix that in the future, but that's just something I saw. Now lastly, and this might be a bit unpopular, but I did see the trick of getting into an important loot room from the top of the tower on Damn Battlegrounds, and this was exploited by many people over the weekend. And you'll see in this video the random that I was playing with attempt this jump and fail, unfortunately. But I saw this so many times in people's streams or YouTube videos, but I think stuff like that shouldn't be in the game. I don't know whether that was on purpose or not, but I think stuff like that can break the immersion and really makes the game a little bit too easy. With the same idea that I had with nerfing the AI, I feel like having this game challenging and really immersive and having to work for the things that you had make the stakes that much higher and makes the game more fun and give you that rush of what an extraction shooter should let you feel like. And that's about it. I mean, I think there's obviously way more pros than cons. I really do think that this game has the makings to be a potential Game of the Year contender. And man, I think out of 5 stars, this thing has to be at least a 4 out of 5 stars for me. Of course, there's room to grow, and I'm excited to see it grow. I'm really curious to see what the end game is going to look like when it gets released. But I was very, very impressed by this game, and I can't help but wish there was more from what that came from. So I'm excited. Let me know what you thought of the Server Slam or Arc Raiders in general down in the comments. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the 30th. God bless.
He's a fucking ninja.
Terrifying.